Hiya folks, welcome back to the Small Business Toolbox, where we take a fresh look at self-employed life in the UK. I'm Andy Mack and I've been self-employed for ages. Bit of a more vlog type video today, but I thought it was an important topic that was worth chatting about. On the 3rd of July 2019, Ali Shah, the head of technology policy at the UK ICO, put out a blog post entitled "Cookies, What Does Good Look Like?" And if my interpretation of the ICO's updated guidance is correct, then we might as well say Google Analytics can't be used anymore. Let me just reiterate that because I sound like a crazy person, but yes, Google Analytics is no more. When I first read this, I genuinely thought I was just losing my mind and I was misinterpreting what was being said, but I genuinely don't think I am. And that's kind of my reason for this video, because I want you, all you lovely boys and girls on YouTube, to help me dig into this and verify whether what I'm saying is correct or not. So let me try and explain all of this. Google Analytics is the most widely used analytics platform on the internet, and it's used by everyone because it's really good. It can tell you essential information about how your website is performing, such as how many visitors you've had, roughly where in the world they are, and how many times they're coming back, and all that sort of stuff. We always say on this channel, know your numbers. And this is a prime example of where to get your numbers from. This sort of information is an absolute core metric in terms of your business's viability and growth. How many people are visiting your website? Where are they, and how are they finding out about your business in the first place? And I'm the first person to kick off about big companies like Google and Facebook and whatnot taking your personal information and doing stuff with it without you necessarily knowing what's going on. I think that's a really bad thing, but Google Analytics isn't part of that problem. The information gathered by Google Analytics isn't nefarious in any way, and certainly by my understanding, it doesn't gather any personal information about you at all. And by the way, if you want to check whether or not a website you're on is using Google Analytics, if you're using the Chrome browser, all you need to do is click on the little padlock next to the web address, go down to the bit where it says cookies, and you can look at all the cookies placed on your computer by that website. If you see any cookies beginning with _GA, then that website is almost certainly using Google Analytics. Honestly, you'll struggle to find websites that aren't using it. So let me try and explain what the problem is and why Google Analytics can no longer be used. And by the way, if I say GA, that's Google Analytics. Basically, for GA to work, it stores a random number on your computer. And this is stored in a thing known as a cookie. You get bad cookies, good cookies, and really awesome cookies. Good cookies are used for things like remembering who you are, so you don't have to keep logging onto the same website over and over again. They'll also get used to track things like your shopping basket. If you get halfway through ordering something and then you get distracted and you have to go and sort something out, and then you come back to finish your order, your shopping basket will get stored in a cookie. There's no harm in that, and it generally makes everyone's lives easier. Bad cookies, on the other hand, are used to store personal information and tracking information so that adverts can get relentlessly thrown in your face. It is possible to run websites with no cookies at all, and we'll cover that in a future video. Generally speaking though, your average day-to-day site probably will put 10 to 20 cookies on your machine to make everything work properly. If you want a laugh though, go and visit your favourite news website and see how many cookies they're placing on your machine without you knowing anything about it. These are basically massive conglomerates who don't care, and they're just ignoring the laws. These aren't analytics cookies, they're advertising tracking cookies, and they're a very different thing. So GA knows how many times a visitor is coming back to your website, because all it does is count up how many times it sees that random number that's generated on their machine. There's no personal information being gathered, it has nothing to do with advertising, it's literally just a random number. In fact, from Google's own development reference guide, it says, in order for Google Analytics to determine that two distinct hits belong to the same user, a unique identifier must be sent with each hit. It accomplishes this using a unique randomly generated string. Without this, if someone went to your home page and then to your about page and then back to your home page again, your website would think that you've had two visitors. But you haven't. Google goes on to say using cookies allows it to identify unique users across browsing sessions, in other words, on the same device. But it cannot identify unique users across different devices. In other words, if you switch over to using your phone instead of your computer, Google can't track that. It will think you're a different person because your phone will have a different random number on it. GA has no idea who you are. All it knows about is a random number in a cookie. It's absolutely essential for business owners to know this information, and it's completely harmless. So what's the problem? Well, according to the ICO's new guidance, and by guidance I'm assuming they mean the law, when it comes to cookie warnings and consent for visitors to your website, pre-ticked boxes or sliders defaulted to on cannot be used for non-essential cookies. Any non-essential cookies, including cookies used for the purpose of web analytics, require prior consent to the GDPR standard. Analytics cookies aren't strictly necessary and so require consent. And the ICO, who have had it wrong for many years, may I add, have now kindly shown us on their own website what that consent looks like. And you'll see they've now got a policy box that has analytics cookies defaulted to off. In other words, Google Analytics isn't going to work until the user of the website actively digs into the cookie policy and switches analytics cookies on. This is insane. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody reads cookie warnings anyway because they've been so badly implemented, and only website owners know what analytics cookies are. And I've got an outstanding Freedom of Information request with the ICO to find out exactly how many people have switched analytics cookies on their website. I shall share that information with you as soon as I get it, so don't forget to hit subscribe. And don't think this doesn't apply to you if you're not in the UK or you're not in the EU. By my understanding, GDPR is a worldwide thing. If you've got a website that's accessible by the EU, then these rules apply to you, even if you're in Outer Mongolia. Now, the laws surrounding all of this are incredibly vague, complex and boring. In the UK alone, we seem to have 3 different bits of legislation that all seem to kind of slightly contradict each other. We've got the Data Protection Act, we've got the Privacy and Electronic Communications Regulations, or PECR, and of course we've got GDPR as well. And that's just in the UK. And the way GDPR seems to be getting implemented in different countries of the EU seems to be slightly different for each place, which is completely insane because the whole point of GDPR was to try and standardise privacy across all the different EU countries. So well done on that one. As an example, according to this website, the Dutch Data Protection Authority have provided guidelines saying that Google Analytics is fine as long as it's configured to anonymise personal data, which I would always advise that you do. Now, I have no idea who is correct, but that directly contradicts what the British ICO are saying. Now, I've done quite a lot of digging on this subject over the last month or so, a lot of which you might find quite interesting. I'll save that for future videos. I'll also let you know the outcomes of the Freedom of Information requests that I've got with the ICO, where I'm asking how many people have actively switched on cookie consent for analytics on their own website, and how many prosecutions has there been for cookie-related incidents. And spoiler alert, I found 2 websites straight away that are completely ignoring the ICO's own guidelines, one of which is legislation.gov.uk, that's the government's website that stores all the laws, and the other one is gov.uk itself, which is the government's own main website. Both of these place Google Analytics cookies on your machine without consent. But in absolute seriousness, There are estimated to be 1.5 billion websites in the world, and according to w3text.com, 57% of them are using Google Analytics. That's 855 million websites that are almost certainly non-compliant. And the thing is, the big businesses who are the cause of all these privacy and data protection issues in the first place are choosing to not only ignore the laws but actively flout the laws, placing hundreds and hundreds of tracking cookies on your computer without you knowing anything about it. But meanwhile, small businesses are struggling and a window cleaner can't even check how many visitors he's had to his website. That's just crazy. So as I say, we'll follow up on all of this. Pop in the comments below what you think. I'd love to be wrong about all of this, but I really don't think I am. If I ever make any progress with my multiple requests for information from the ICO, I will let you know. All of the articles and things I've chatted about in this video, I'll include links to them below so you can check the sources. Please prove me wrong, folks, because Google Analytics is a fantastic tool and I don't want to stop using it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe so that I can keep you updated on all of this. Take care, folks. I shall see you next time.